Sitrep, brand new PUBG news just announced today. Kind of, leaked by PUBG, but like not globally. It was like a Korean only dev review thing, but some wonderful people in the community have gotten the information translated, trickled down to us peons. So let's go ahead and review it. Starting from the top, now we're here. Okay, so as some of the people in the comments have already said, tactical gear is going to be removed from casual mode, or not casual mode, excuse me, normal mode in September. They've like officially, I guess, decided they're removing tactical gear in September. The AUG is getting a nerf in September to its RPM. That's the round per minute, the rate of fire. And then a wonderful community member put together this little Reddit list of all the things in the dev talk. Again, this is translated from Korean to English, so some of this language might not exactly line up, but hopefully we'll be seeing an actual PUBG announcement across all channels soon, and we'll do another review if anything changes. So, summary of the dev talk today. I haven't read this, by the way. Background: there was recently an uproar of Korean partners and community about PUBG's poor communication. This kind of talk was promised at their 6th anniversary stream, but according to the in-game director today, it was delayed because they wanted to figure out how to do this kind of live communication globally. However, they've decided to talk to the Korean users first, as they felt further delay would only frustrate the community even more. AKA, they're very concerned about their largest player base threatening to boycott the game. That's really what was happening. Korean players, partners, community members were threatening to boycott the game because of the lack of communication, the pay to win Aston Martin thing, just a lot of the recent changes that PUBG's been doing. And so even though, other regions like North America, etc., have been voicing our concerns, not that it falls on deaf ears, but obviously it's not as big of a concern until one of the huge regions says, hey, listen, we've had enough. So that's what stemmed this dev talk. It's an impromptu dev talk too. Like I said, I didn't even know this dev talk was happening. How many times have we covered dev talks on this channel? Like hour-long dev talks, all of them. So this was like, I couldn't come back from the gym hearing about this. Like, what the heck? So first 3 topics were chosen by PUBG for today's stream. The rest were answers to community live chat. Number 1, tactical gear. It will be deleted in the September 6th patch. That's literally what, a week and a half from now? 2 weeks from now? It's gone. Tactical gear is gone. If they decide to bring it back, they will only do it after significant nerfs and proper test server player feedback. That's a huge change. That is a absolute huge change. Like, they just added tactical gear. Not just, tactical gear has been in the game for a long time, but they just added it to like you can start with it. So again, with the language barrier conversion, I don't know if this means tactical gear will no longer spawn in the game like it used to, or if this means it's going to be gone altogether, or if this just means you no longer can start with the tactical gear. I'm not really clear on that. From what it seems like, they're completely removing it from the game. Like, nobody can have tactical gear ever at all, unless maybe you're in a custom game, which, if you're a custom host, you can like spawn whatever you want. So that's really big. How do I feel about that? I'm kind of mixed, to be honest. I really enjoyed the addition of spawning with a tactical gear item. I felt that it kind of allowed you to shape the way you are going to play each round differently. However, I also understand that, ultimately what a lot of people ended up doing was getting the repair kit and having infinite armor and helmets. That's a problem. Or getting the tactical backpack and having infinite RPGs. I'm guilty. Or having infinite shotguns, etc. That's a problem. So I understand the mixed feelings on it, but I have to be honest, my initial knee-jerk reaction without sleeping on it is just, I'm a little bummed. Like I like that they're making a change to appease the player base as a whole. But I was like, I'm a little bummed to hear that. I enjoyed the addition of tactical gear, personally. Number 2, the Dragunov. The probability base damage, aka the RNG damage, was clearly a misjudgment on their side, and they apologize. They are redesigning the Dragunov to be a DMR sniper rifle hybrid, which is what it was intended to be. In other words, they're going to make a level 2 helmet one shot within 100 meters, but much less beyond that. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. 100 meters is not that far of a distance. So I'm not mad at that statement. And what they're simply meaning by there is it'll have a high base damage, but it will also have a drastic damage drop off over distance. So close range, it'll be very strong. But as a long range DMR sniper, it'll be more in line with SLR, SKS, Mark 12. But if you happen to catch an enemy, within 100 meters, which a lot of fights can definitely happen within 100 meters, it's going to be really, really strong. That'll be interesting. That will be interesting. I wonder if they're going to change the fire rate because of that, or if they're going to keep the fire rate the way it is, where it's like a slow pop, pop, pop. Interested to see what they do there. But I like the change. Get rid of the RNG damage. Make it where if you're close range, it's really strong. If you're long range, it's a mixture. I like that. The AUG Nerf. Okay, so let's just read the details first. The AUG in Mark 12 was clearly becoming the dominant meta. This is very well displayed during the PGS2. Most pro players opted for this loadout, and if you looked at their graph that they put out from the gunplay thing, it was clear. The AUG was the go-to AR, and the Mark 12 was the go-to DMR. The in-game director, which I would love to know, I wish I would have seen the interview, who they're talking about the in-game director, because Dave Curd is the creative director for PUBG. At least, he was. I don't know if that has changed. Dave Curd, creative director of PUBG. Okay, yeah, so I don't think they're talking about Dave here. I think they're talking about someone else, but okay. The in-game director states the barrel should be the top tier AR. So that's their goal for World Spawn. The barrel should be the top tier AR. But they also feel that the barrel's current TTK, the time to kill, is good. It shouldn't change. So instead of buffing the barrel, they're going to nerf the AUG by probably adjusting its RPM as soon as possible. So probably adjusting its RPM, its round per minute, its rate of fire as soon as possible. They have to be really careful here, because if they change the rate of fire but leave the damage the same, it could really obviously nerf the AUG, but nerf it into the dirt, because it's already so close to the M4 that if they do a big change, it's gonna tank it. Alternatively, if they do like a 50 rounds per minute reduction, it might not change it at all. I'll just say it again, a broken record. I don't think the answer is ever to nerf another gun. The answer should be to buff other weapons, rising all of the boats, rising tide lifts all boats, that kind of thought process, to give more player choice into each situation. I think if you just nerf one specific gun, all you're doing at that point is mandating that you use the barrel. Like, if you're going to have the better gun, it's going to be the barrel. So I don't know if that's the answer, but we'll see. The Aston Martin. This is their comments on the Aston Martin. The initial pay-to-win process was a clear oversight and a promise that this will never happen again. And what they're talking about for the pay-to-win, if you haven't seen my video, go watch my video where I go over all of the vehicle's mechanics, balances, adjustments, and the strengths and the weaknesses of all the vehicles. The coupe, not the coupe, sorry, both convertibles and the SUV. That's this video here. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. What they're talking about pay to win specifically is the grenade damage. The convertible had this weird thing where if you were at a certain part behind the vehicle, crouched or standing, you took no grenade damage, 0 grenade damage. The vehicle absorbed it all. And so that's obviously a huge problem, because if you're thinking you're going to grenade an enemy and kill them under the car or whatever, they're going to take 0 damage. If you went prone, you still took damage behind the Aston. But so then they go on to explain why they did that. Regarding the frag grenade invincibility, one of the Aston Martin has, that's both convertibles, the devs had to readjust the nade damage setting. Basically, they describe it as it was damage rays spreading in all directions with some angle of cadence. They tinkered with the angle to let the damage seep through the Aston Martin as well. However, as a side effect, the nade damage will feel a bit different depending on the terrain. So what they're talking about right here is going forward. So they've apparently fixed the grenade damage issue. So you will take damage behind the Aston Martin after this patch is updated on September 6th. However, what they've also done is made a side effect that now grenade damage will feel different depending on the terrain. So if you don't know much about PUBG grenades, essentially the way it works is obviously when the grenade explodes, it has like, shrapnel. That shrapnel goes out in multiple directions. But if you're behind cover, like even a thin piece of cover, a chair even, if you have a piece of cover blocking your body, sometimes you'll take reduced damage or no damage. So this potentially shakes up all of that depending on how they changed the angle at which the damage leaves the grenade. And even furthermore to that, while they're saying depending on the terrain, this could mean that if the grenade is a certain height above you, you take less or more damage. It's not clear based on this little segment. Or vice versa. If you're above the grenade and the grenade blows up on a divot below you and you're up high enough, you might take more or less damage. So we'll have to take a look when this releases. But in essence, grenade damage is shifting. And that could be a big thing for PUBG because obviously grenades are super useful. Ranked seasonal reward buff. Oh, good. Okay. They're working on it and aim to implement it by early to mid 2024. Holy cannoli. Okay. So if you play ranked, your seasonal rewards are going to be increased, but not until next year. Wow. Okay. It can't be that hard to put some better rewards in for ranked, huh? Holy shit. Miramar zipline bug will be fixed. Great. Sometimes you could not fire SMGs or pistols while you were ziplining on the new Miramar ziplines. So they fixed that. Cool. The Blizzard and the Sandstorm will be adjusted according to user feedback. Spawn frequency, disappearing after certain phases, etc. So probably what that means is it'll spawn less frequently and it won't appear after probably phase 7. That way you're not like in a 1v1 situation and happen to be in a snowstorm. To me personally, I don't have a problem with the Sandstorm or the Blizzard. The only thing that is super unfortunate with them is like you still take damage in vehicles and in buildings, which like part of that is good because you can't just camp. But then part of it's like, then you have to kind of boost through it all. And it's just, even if you're in a building, you're still boosting and losing HP. So that could be a little tough, especially if you're in the blue zone in addition to that. So you're really tanking damage. So I understand people's contention with that. Different map rotation by region is planned. Yes. Different map rotation by region. That is the best thing I've read in this whole freaking patch. Dude, God, I hope that means that North America will no longer be forced to play Sandhawk or other small maps only all the time. I really, really hope that's the case. I don't know what other regions want. I know that North America, for the most part, we want big maps. We want a higher percentage of big maps. We want few small maps and a lower percentage of small maps. Thermal scope spawn rate will be nerfed or will be a crate item. Interesting. I was literally just thinking about the thermal scope yesterday. I'm editing a video that'll go up in a couple days or whatever. And I was literally just abusing the thermal scope. And, I got to be honest, the answer isn't to nerf the spawn rate. A decent answer is to put it in a crate, but I think even that is not good enough. Because if they put it in a crate, remember, this is a Vikendi only item. Vikendi has those huge care packages, which I also think are terrible for the game. They should go back to a single care package on Tego and Vikendi. But because the care package is huge on Vikendi, that means you could still have multiple chances to get thermal scopes. And that means multiple team members could have thermal scopes towards the middle or end of the game, which then means smoke grenades are useless. And we all know PUBG's utility is so important, especially smoke grenades for late game rotations, late game revives on your teammate, etc. So the thermal scope really ruins that aspect of PUBG. And also on top of that, why, like, the thermal scope being in the game would sort of make sense for me if it was on the night mode Vikendi. But tell me, when's the last time that you've played Vikendi night mode? How often do you actually get Vikendi night mode? For me, I haven't had it in literally, I'd probably say months. And so to not have the night mode but also always have a thermoscope seems odd. It seems like the thermoscope, if anything, should only be available on Vikendi night mode, so that it is a more unique situation, and it's kind of more practical in its use case because it's during the night, so a thermoscope makes sense. Furthermore, last comment on thermoscopes, they just got to make it to where you can't see through a smoke grenade. I think that's really the ultimate answer. Everybody could have one. It could be in a crate, it could not be in a crate, but because it can see directly through a smoke grenade, it just kind of ruins the balance of PUBG, in my opinion. So do something to fix that part, and then I think you're good. Which, you know, the ironic thing is they can do that, because if you notice on the snowstorms in the blizzard, the thermoscope does not work. If you actually pay attention to that, you can have a thermoscope, you can see a body in a blizzard, and you'll see the outline of a body, but faintly. It won't be lit up. It won't be bright white. If they just applied that same effect in a smoke grenade, you're done. The problem disappears. The problem goes away. Anti-cheat. They know they are not perfect. Keep in mind, this is someone just typing their notes. They know they are not perfect, but they just want everyone to know that they are really trying their best to deal with cheaters. Okay, moving on. Unreal 5. Unreal 5. They are working on something. Will not disclose anything for now, but are excited about it. Okay, this is a callback to my dev letter 2023 roadmap. PUBG did announce that they've tested one map. They didn't say which map, porting it over to Unreal Engine 5. That was as of January of this year. If they're still working on Unreal 5, that either means A, they're still tinkering with that one map, or B, they're more confident about their port to Unreal Engine 5 and have maybe even added more maps to Unreal Engine 5. That is fantastic news that they are excited about it. Unfortunate there's nothing to show yet, but gosh, that would be a huge announcement for PUBG. It'll be interesting to see if they do an announcement as PUBG 2.0, or if they just, hey, we're updating the graphical engine for the game, come check it out. I think if they do Unreal Engine 5, they have to really market it as 2.0, I think. Let me know what you guys think. Matchmaking tier. It's a symptom for a small user pool. Their priority is shorter queue time, so the current matchmaking is inevitable. The director said that he also met master tier players in his ranked matches when he is still gold. Oh, they're talking about specifically ranked tier. So I guess it's a problem if you are a new ranked player, maybe like you're a low level, bronze, silver, and you're getting matched with gold or platinum players. I don't play ranked, so I really can't speak to that, but obviously I understand that could be annoying. You know, you and your squad of silvers are getting matched against platinums. Not really fair. That's not really the point of ranked, right? The point of ranked is to see who's the better player. And if you're playing against people way higher skill level than you, then that's not really competitive integrity, you know? The next live stream might be 2 to 3 months later. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe they're going to do another dev update in a few months is what they're saying. This is what I noted, but may have missed a few things. Edit. Overall, the Korean community seems very satisfied with today's stream. The director tried to address the topics and live chat questions and comments as much as he could and took in live feedback very well. Well, listen, you know, without actually hearing and seeing the interview myself, because obviously it was in Korean and I don't speak Korean, so can't do that. That's good news. You know, I'm happy to hear that PUBG is announcing changes. Oh, this must be the director, right? In-game director. I've recognized him. You know, overall, I think it's good news. It's a good thing. Am I happy with all the changes they announced? No. Chat. So overall, what are your thoughts? Just after hearing what we just talked about, obviously opinions can change. Once you play with it, you might think a little bit differently. What are your thoughts overall on the news? I'll give my top-down recap. I think overall, it's a thumbs up in the right direction, and that's been mimicking what PUBG sentiment has been lately. If you've been paying attention to the PUBG changes, they've been very, very good about making direct changes based on community feedback. Sometimes that's not based on, you know, my North American community, and that's okay, because obviously we're not just the only players in PUBG. So I'm happy to see that they're receptive to feedback. It seems like there's been a shift in the PUBG developer meetings of listening and really trying to make impactful changes based on community feedback. However, leaving what the comments they've addressed, I would like to add a few things. It's unfortunate that we've had the comeback BR system in the game for a year and a half now. That's still in the game. The terrible comeback BR. It's a terrible system. It didn't work. It was a nice try to do a spin on a revive mechanic. It doesn't work. Remove it. They've added the blue chip detector revive system, a convoluted way to get your partner revived into the game. Good. Where are the updates to that system to improve it? Obviously, it's not where it needs to be. That's obvious across the board. The blue chip revive system has to be updated. We've talked about it before, by either making it an instant revive. When you go to the station, as soon as you complete the animation, boom, your teammate comes back down, or making it where it's a defib system, you revive them on the ground, or making it to where they at least spawn back with some kind of gear. Something has to give there, because the current system, it just doesn't accomplish the goal of what a revive system should be in a video game. It almost feels like at that point, is it really worth having in the game? Is it really different than the comeback BR? So I would like to see them address that. In terms of gunplay balance changes, it's odd that they are so focused on the AUG and not about any of the other potential balance and changes that they could be doing to PUBG. Obviously, they're really looking at the esports side of it. They're using the esports scene as a guide of what they should be adjusting. And while that makes obvious sense, they should be focusing on that. What about changes to shotgun movement accuracy penalties? What about changes to shotgun and SMG limb damage multipliers? What about, where are those balances and quality of life adjustments? Because they've been needed. And they specifically called out in one of their comments about the Dragunov. If you remember, they said sub 100 meters, they're going to make it very, very strong. Then after 100 meters, make it fall off drastically in the damage. That's great. That makes the gun unique. SMGs should be the same way. SMGs should be super strong up close, a higher base damage, and then they should have a high damage drop off. They don't need limb damage multipliers. They don't need that crutch to give, worse players a better chance at winning. All they have to do is make the gun do more damage per bullet, but then after 50 meters, start doing damage drop off on those kind of guns. So that way they're useful up close, they make sense, and as a potential level 3 gear player aren't getting shredded at the kneecaps because someone has terrible accuracy, but they get the benefit of this RNG mechanic in the game, essentially. So I would love to see those things addressed. What else? What else would be a good thing for PUBG to look at? So before we play music, because we'll get DMCA'd, let me know what you guys think below. Hope you guys enjoyed the quick synopsis. Leave a like if you did, and get subscribed for more PUBG content. Peace.